birding for the first time outside of the United States in my entire life. I'm super excited about this. All right, everybody, after a long day of travel, I am finally in Montreal, birding for the first time outside of the United States in my entire life. I'm super excited about this. It was a little bit hectic. I got dropped off like 6 blocks from my hotel without phone service, so I wandered around Montreal for about 30 minutes, but I found the hotel. We are here. We are alive. We are safe. The view from the hotel's insane, absolutely beautiful. I am here presenting research. I'm a PhD student, if you didn't know, and I study birders. So here presenting our research on that topic. Stay tuned though, we are gonna go birding tomorrow throughout the afternoon and then probably in the morning on Monday as well before I fly back. So stick around, hopefully we find a whole bunch of lifers and build up our Canadian bird list. Just finished presenting at my conference this morning. We presented our research on birders, absolutely amazing. It went really, really well. There were also 2 other presentations on birds. That was pretty cool to see. After the conference, I ended up going to Chinatown here in Montreal. It's just a few blocks. There's some beautiful architecture there. Really cool area to get food. We went to this restaurant and picked up some steamed dumplings, chicken curry steamed dumplings, and they were absolutely fantastic. Loved that so much. The plan for today, we're walking about 30 minutes to this massive park just north of me. We're gonna go birding. Obviously, it is midday, but I'm planning on staying there probably until the sun goes down in about 3.5 hours. So we'll walk there for half an hour. We'll be there for about 2.5 hours, and then we'll come back. After a pretty steep walk, I mean, there were stairs everywhere. There's still stairs. This city's literally on a hill. At least this park is. We finally made it to Montreal Park. Let's see what birds we can find. First bird on camera in Montreal is a downy woodpecker. So not a new species to start off this video, but we do have a downy woodpecker. Now I must admit, while I was walking through the city, I did pick up footage of rock pigeons and house sparrows in this fountain, but nobody wants to start off their trip with those species, although they are beautiful in their own ways, don't get me wrong. So really hoping to see a pileated woodpecker and maybe a few warblers that I don't have on my life list. Let's see if we can find them. Second bird of Montreal is some obscured views of black-capped chickadee. So 2 birds that we can find at home. We'll get something new in a minute. Picked up a few more species for Canada for the first time. Double-crested cormorant perched out on this pond over here, as well as some mallards out there. Again, really common species. We have those at home. And also ring-billed gulls. Really good shots of the ring-billed gulls, but again, we have those at home. So nothing new, and bad news, I have a massive storm coming this way. We'll see if any birds come out in this. I believe a lot of them are gonna be hunkering down, and I've gotta get this camera out of the rain. Picked up a lifer. Y'all on the East Coast are gonna laugh about this, but picked up a northern cardinal on camera. The shots aren't great. I couldn't get the camera to focus perfectly, but we got our first northern cardinal on camera, finally. A year after the channel was created, northern cardinal. Now I do have an excuse. I've only been to northern cardinal territory once ever, at least in a video. So finally got that iconic North American bird on camera. Super happy about that. Let's see if we can find anything else before the storm hits. Dark clouds have moved in and the light is super, super low. I'm gonna keep birding because I only have this afternoon in Montreal. My flight's tomorrow. I am going birding in the morning, but in more of a river, Gulf type habitat. So a lot of gulls, water birds. I really want to nail down some of these forest specialties in Montreal, but it's not going very good so far. Only seen that northern cardinal. That's the only bird that we don't have at home. So we'll see what else we can find. Probably can't tell, but I am completely soaked. Everything from my backpack to my binoculars to my hat is drenched. That was the hardest rainstorm I've ever been in, and there was no cover anywhere at all for me to get under. So that ends the birding trip for today. I really hope the camera's okay. I think the backpack can withhold water, at least a little bit. So I'm completely drenched and there's water running down the streets here. So should always have an umbrella with me, but I didn't. So there's that. Back at the hotel, and that is obviously not how I wanted things to go. Unfortunately, no lifers at that park, and our birding trip gets cut short by about 2 hours due to the massive rainstorm. Again, I have never been so wet in my life. We don't get rain like that out in the Southwest. I mean, Utah has monsoon season. Nah, those aren't even storms. This was like torrential downpour. Absolutely insane. It was a little bit fun. Camera's okay. Bag soaked, but did its job and protected the camera. The camera's all good. Binoculars, they're soaked, whatever. Tomorrow we're going birding again to see if we can find any other birds. Unfortunately though, this Canada trip is not the birding trip that I hoped for, but that's just how things go sometimes. The birds that I wanted to get here in Canada, I will eventually find, but today just isn't the day. Hopefully tomorrow we can get ourselves at least one lifer before we leave. Just had poutine, I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not exactly sure. But what did y'all Canadians do to our French fries? Nah, I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad. If you don't know what it is, it's like French fries with gravy on top and like cheese curds as well. And then that all melts. So it's like basically loaded fries with gravy. So pretty good stuff. And yeah, you have to try it when you come to, anywhere in Canada. I would recommend. My flight leaves in a couple hours. The plan was to go birding this morning on my last day here in Montreal. Unfortunately, it is raining again, and this time I just can't afford to get soaking wet, especially with having a flight in a couple hours. So this is not the trip that I expected to have. If you told me that all I was going to walk away with was a camera lifer, that being the Northern Cardinal, I wouldn't have believed that. I had a list of 25 potential lifers that I was going to pick up on this trip and didn't see or hear a single one. Not super worried about it though, because this flyway on the East Coast, I will be back to, and we will get these birds. I will avenge this trip and we'll be successful in the future. So stick around though. This journey is not over. Once I get home, I'm going to go out birding because this Canada trip was unfortunate on the birding side of things. What's up everybody? We are back at home and I'm currently at the Geneva Settling Ponds next to Vineyard Beach in Utah. Obviously the trip to Canada didn't turn out birding wise how we wanted it to be. So we are here and I'm trying to find a lifer, solitary sandpiper. We'll see if we can find it and break our lifer drought. The last lifer that we got was actually about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It was the white-headed woodpecker back in California. So we're on a little bit of a lifer drought. We're gonna see if we can break that today. And yeah, let's see what we can find. First bird that we picked up right when we got here is a lark sparrow. It's a really beautiful sparrow. We really like watching those birds. No sign so far of the solitary sandpiper, but there's a lot of ground to cover. So let's see if we can run into it. Picked up a snowy egret on the day. Love seeing those birds. Really small, beautiful egret. So unfortunately, again, no solitary sandpiper so far, but we're seeing some pretty cool stuff. And it's good to be home too. We're kind of in the slow season though of birding, in my opinion. Fall migration has started. Shorebirds have started, hence why there are so many solitary sandpipers being reported out here. For a lot of birds, it hasn't come yet. So it's a slow trickle fall migration compared to spring migration. And hopefully we should see a lot more action and vagrants coming up in the next couple of weeks. Added eastern kingbird to my list. I always love running into those birds. Western kingbirds are obviously the most common out here. There are thousands and thousands of western kingbirds. Eastern kingbirds, a little less common. Still all over the place, but it's fun seeing those with that contrasting black and white coloration. Added black-crowned night heron to our list today. That's one of my favorite birds. I remember Global Big Day 2023. I got my lifer black-crowned night heron and I was super pumped for that. So every time I see those birds, that memory comes flooding back. We're almost wrapped up here and no sign of the solitary sandpiper, unfortunately. I'm gonna give it one more scan just to see if I've missed it, and I'll keep you updated. Just picked up my camera lifer bank swallow. You can tell that they're bank swallows because they have that collar on their neck, that almost full collar on their neck. So pretty awesome to pick that bird up on camera. I've seen them quite a few times at this point, This is the first time they've been nicely perched for me to get them on camera. So we are walking away at a minimum with a camera lifer. All right, well, that's the end of the line. No solitary sandpiper for me. The lifer drought continues. Now there's two sides to this. One, it's kind of exciting because that means the next time I get a lifer, it'll be that much sweeter after such a long drought, you know, almost a month without a lifer. And number two, it's kind of like a challenge. Now I actually want to go out and search for specific birds. Now I struck out with the semi-palmated sandpiper. I struck out with the solitary. Shorebirds honestly are just difficult in general, but they are not, they're not here. I can't find them. So remember that this Saturday, August 17th, I'm hosting a bird walk at Bountiful Lake, also known as Bountiful Pond. If you can make it, love to see you there. It's at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Let me know in the comments below, what's been your longest lifer drought? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I hope to see you all next time on Bright Eyed Birding.